Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a bronze, though very high bronze, and I don't expect to be here for long, Ana. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't already done so, and let's see what this Ana can do. This is a bronze that has been in gold before, so they've clearly made some mistakes. If it's come to some misunderstandings, let's clean that up. So, Val says, and a player in our Discord said I should play at a faster pace. Then Temporal told me I should be faster too. My Mercy should be faster too. Yeah. Results of you trying to go faster. You want to hold on to your speed but play less badly? Yeah, that's sort of what pushing the envelope is. And it's good that you want to play faster. Usually people get a faster pace by sort of playing at a higher level and it forces them to play faster. But yeah, you can force yourself to play faster in some ways. You still have to hit the team's timings, even if you're just using the team as bait, but you can force yourself to go faster. And yeah, by forcing yourself to go faster, you will make more mistakes. You're probably going too much faster if you're making mistakes that are allowing you to fall this hard, though, because again, we don't want you to accidentally permatize bad habits. We don't want you to go, yes, I'm going faster, I'm going this fast, this is great, but then you start making mistakes and you start making the same mistake multiple times, a lot of times, and you actually sort of create that or permatize that mistake and make that sort of part of your gameplay. So like, let's raise the speed a little less if that's what's going on. You should be making some mistakes. If you're not making any mistakes, yeah, you should be pushing for a faster pace. That's going to help. But if you're making enough that you're losing your way down here to bronze, that's going to be too much, and we need to find that sweet spot. But that's okay. Let's get through it.
One. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
I have your back.
Yeah, okay, James. I'll change the epic pen color. Happy? Sure. You're catching up on Reinhardt. You needed to rotate during that. I know it's scary. I know it's weird. Boom. You need to walk right now. Because your team is going to rotate. You can see your team is rotating. Your Reinhardt is rotating to the right. Your Hog is going to the left. You want to take the space while they do. Yeah, you have a rifle and you can play from a bit further back, but this team, you already know, isn't super likely to push you hard. Yes, Sim likes close range, but they're Sigma and Orisa. If they're on Sigma and Orisa, you're probably reasonably good until you guys fall too far behind. I want to go with this team while there's this Reinhardt shield here, because this rotation is only going to be harder later. Not the end of the world, though. Pretty minor. You're going to heal from here, and then they end up going this way, and you do catch the rotation this time. Okay, works for me. Forget this. I'm good with going over here. I'm good with walking over here, dropping a nade, and then going right back. Like, I'm good with that. That's fine with me. Your Reinhardt sort of has the shield to pull this off, but be fast about this. No, you're getting, like, super sneaky doing this. Okay, that could have been fine, but you can't stay back here. Like, this is not a... Oh, good! You dropped your two abilities and then... No. This is way too long. This is way too long that you're away from your Reinhardt. You knew your Reinhardt shield was weak and that he hadn't stabilized behind the statue or anything to refresh his Rein shield. So he doesn't have the ability to protect himself anymore. And you knew that. You knew that when you went over here. So you're putting him... You are basically trying to trade his life for someone else's if you're staying over here. If you just did a quick, hey, my Reinhardt's there, he's got half a shield or less, let me pop through here to drop a sleep or to drop a nade, or like what you did, which was you tried to go sleep nade shot or sleep shot nade, which, hey, I can live with that, but you're still hanging out here. You've immediately got to get back here. You've got to. And now your Reinhardt is going to pin, and the irony of that is now you actually will be able to support him over here, but that's just how that works. You can't just leave your Reinhardt for that long, especially when you're not getting value, and we didn't really get huge value there. Yeah, we got a purple on there, so that counts, but we are spending way too long. This is not the pace that we need here. We'll go through this again just to make it more obvious. See, your Reinhardt is weak. His shield is weak, rather. You go through here, And I just want to be fast about this. It's literally, I'm going to walk in here, I'm going to drop a nade on the supports, or I'm going to sleep one of the supports, and then I'm going to walk back. Or maybe I'm going to nade the supports, sleep the Orisa, and then walk back. Or, you know, whatever the case may be. But it's got to be, I go do these things and I get back. This is time. This is time. Active time. What are we doing? What are we doing? I get it. You're trying to control the lane because you've seen my videos on map guides. And just to be clear, the way that supports enforce lanes, and anyone who hasn't seen my map guides, I recommend you check those out. Map guides on this channel, we have a playlist for them. They're one of the best things you can watch to get better at Overwatch, but Val has gone a little too far with them. So people have different roles in controlling lanes. So like if we look at this from a lane perspective, there are, of course, multiple lanes here. We're going to be in a situation where, hey, this would be a lane. You'd call this a lane. We can call this a second lane. And we can call this, we can call this 4 lanes. These 2 lanes, these middle ones are very similar, but there's a bit of difference to them. We can call these lanes, and maybe we'll have this one go over here just to make it more interesting. Whatever the case may be. So, like, yes, this exists, but as Ana, you can push up into a lane if your team controls it. Your team controlling your lane, controlling the lane, allows you to, let's use black here, allows you to push up, drop off your abilities, and fall back. And you can safely do so because your team controlled the lane, or the other team doesn't control the lane. That's fantastic. That's one of the rewards you get for the lane. Great. But you also are the person who offers resources to help these people with their lanes. Like, let's say that you had, for example, I know this isn't what's going on, but let's say you had Junkrat fighting for this lane, and he was losing to the Sigma who was matching him. Well, you can recognize that, and you can choose to help out the Junkrat, because helping out the Junkrat who's losing the lane is more important than the Reinhardt who has some shield left. Oh, okay, that's important. I want to make sure we lose this lane, that this lane doesn't collapse. So I'm going to, from here, offer a bit more support to reinforce this lane. Or, oh, hey, we're losing this lane on the edge where our soldier is caught fighting another, I don't know, BAP that's jumped up here and is fighting him. Okay, let me help with this lane by taking an offensive shot at the BAP. That's perfectly fine. Those are perfectly fine, good things to do, but you're not actually going to you're not going to stay in this lane and be like, I myself have to constantly enforce this lane. You could send some shots down it, but you can't go through it because your job as Ana is to be able, as really any of the supports, is to be able to support the other lanes. You're not going to be in charge of a lane yourself. You're going to kind of balance the, okay, I'll put this much over here, this much over here, this much over here, and you need to sort of balance the resources of this player isn't holding their lane well, so I need to help them more. This player totally won their lane, so let me walk through their lane and drop a nade and then go back, but I got to get back to where I can properly play my, as the puppet master back here and go, aha, let me go reinforce that lane. That's how it works. It works that way. Obviously, Ana is better at supporting what tends to happen, on that main lane with her Winston. You'll see that pretty frequently, whereas Zen and Brig are a little better at helping out what happens on the off lanes, because that tends to be where the DPS are versus where the tanks are, but you still have that role and you can still help these off lanes like this. So if you win the lane, or if someone else wins the lane, you can walk through and dump abilities, but you get back quick to your main job. Whoa now, James. Whoa now. You don't want to find the bottom 500 games. I mean, bottom 500 games, like those are my plays. No, okay, anyway. You got greedy because Moira's on your team. I hear you, and that means you can leave for a moment to go to go drop off your abilities, maybe even get greedy and drop off both of them, but you're sort of wandering, spending just wasted time in Hotel here. Just like going back and forth, and it's just not nearly decisive enough. And every second counts that you're gone. You leave, you come back. You do a 1 ammo reload. You miss another sleep. Okay, we got the win, but like, you didn't do that much value. You were gone for a long time, and basically you naded an Orisa. That's what we got for you being gone for a long time. Like, you've also got to get the payoff from these things when you do go walk up and take these angles. You have to actually get, hey, I got my nade, I got my sleep, that sort of thing. If you miss too many sleeps, if you don't hit enough nades, if you don't hit any shots, well, now you're just sort of missing for nothing. And, you know, hopefully that'll get better, but let's see.
You're covered. Thank you.
Is this review about multitasking? We'll see. We'll see what it's about. I mean, I just went through the discussion of how she needs to support lanes and what her team winning a lane means she can do, but she can do very briefly, not spending the amount of time she did. This right here isn't bothering me. It's a little unusual, but it's not terribly bothering me because, again, the opponents are in a situation where if they push in, you get to shoot them in the side, Rein gets to swing into them in the side. If they push into you, Soldier shoots them in the side, Rein swings them in the side, that sort of thing. So this I'm okay with. And you can still see everyone from here.
Nanoboost is ready to deploy. I will keep you here.
Come here,
Yeah, no, I got
You're
it.
powered up. Get in there. You're powered up. Get in there.
Sure, I suppose. I don't particularly like that because I don't think he needs it. Like, I can tell that
You're
that
powered
Reinhardt
up.
hit his
Get in
shatter and is probably fine, and I don't think I want to do this nano when heals will work. But okay.
Lock it off.
Yeah, you could have investing in nade, sure. Investing heal, sure. Nano,
Surrender. My will. I'm on fire. Keep out of my way.
okay. Look for your team. Do you need to heal people up? Is there
Hostile
ult charge to be gotten? No. Okay, so this would be great if you were Cassidy. This could make sense if you were Hanzo. This could make sense if you were Tracer to be pre-holding over here. If you're going over here right now, though, this is actually pretty darn team-reliant of you. Like, this is not you going, oh, my team isn't going to do it, so I'm going to go do stuff. What you're about to go do is going to require even more team follow-up. Like, you can do some lurking Ana shenanigans. You can do some lurking Ana shenanigans where you go, hey, they're going to walk past me and I'm going to hit a 3-person nade, 4-person nade, and my team is just going to run at them right when they do so. You can sort of be like the lurking Reinhardt, where like you have a Reinhardt here, they walk past him and then he hops out and shatter. You have an Ana here, they walk past them, the Ana hits the nade and your team just runs them over. But like, let's be honest, that counts on your team to run them over, which if you feel like my team can't even do lanes properly, why would you expect your team to engage timing properly? That doesn't really follow. So I don't want you here because you're just weaker as a hero for this than, say, Junkrat is. You're just weaker. Even Zen is better at a hero for this than you are. Like, you just don't have the poke pressure to really do this, and now you can't support the main lane. And your synergy with Reinhardt is a lot better than your ability to contest this lane.
I cast this force. Go. I keep you here.
Yeah, so you've set yourself up over here, which, you know, means you've effectively got to be aware of this lane, which isn't my absolute favorite. I'd rather you're able to focus on this a little more cleanly, but hey, so be it. We do have to be aware of this. You're going to be over here. What is that, Ned? You should hear that. Good.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Okay, so this is happening. and you decide you want to push in this lane to clear it, but like you're sort of as the support what's being protected by having the lane control. So again, you pushing this one up, it's just like okay, okay. It would be, you know, hey, if you caught a soldier here or something, it would be good that it was sort of stuck between you and the Reinhardt, but it's still not what I'm gonna recommend. Like your job of hey, I'm gonna answer lanes is gonna be more in the realm of hey, I'm supporting this lane and I can peek over and pressure that lane if someone's coming through or support someone who's on that lane. That's what your sort of understanding of lanes wants to evolve to as an Ana.
This will only work for
Right, and now you can't properly pull out with him, you can't properly protect him in his back out, it doesn't work. Enemy footsteps in Overwatch sounds like an inconsiderate neighbor in an apartment block. I heard that right there, with that soldier running up those stairs.
Get back in the fight.
Okay. If you're gonna take a lane that isn't mid here, I hope it's the right lane.
Get healed. I will keep you healed. Nanoboost is ready. Get in there, and I'll hit you.
Enemies re-engaging.
Cool.
Enemies re-engaging.
I mean, I'm nading this. I'm not sure why. You're not? Do you not have it? Oh, you don't have it? I'd have still probably hurled asleep into it, but okay. You got a little robbed, but that's okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Sure. I mean, we could have led this. Yeah, you didn't block this, you just missed. His retreat path was always going to be this way. So, that just needed to be led a little harder. Some of it, Blah, some of it.
I have your back.
Well, you definitely don't need to be here now. I mean, again, your kite path is going to be a bit harder this way. Yeah, you can kite like this, so it's not the end of the world. But you mostly want to be, when I talk about these, I've talked about this before, when I'm talking about the lanes, it would be like, hey, we've got someone here, maybe we've got Reaper here, maybe we've got Reinhardt here, maybe we've got Cassidy over here, whatever, and we have our Ana back here. And our Ana here means if the opponents try to push through, they get pinched from two sides. And that's what we want to happen. If you're putting yourself over here, yeah, like, that's okay if you're over here and your Reinhardt's here and I don't know, your Junkrat's back here. It's okay, I suppose, if they push you because now they're in a situation where they get, you know, pushed from two sides still and they don't like that. They get hit in the side and the back as you try to kite away. But it's actually easier to defend against. It's a little easier to defend against this than it is to defend against when you're this person. But also, you know, as they'll get better, they'll start doing things, and they can't do it in this particular case, but they'll do things like you do against this, which is if you were blue team in this situation, how you would break this is you would go, okay, we will sort of approach this from the outside like this, and we're sort of going to push Reinhardt back to go join his Junkrat or whatever, or to go join his Ana, and then we can push and you have less of a hold on us. This is the safest spot, and this is mostly the spot that we want you living, existing in. You slide up to here to deliver the payload, to deliver power, to be like, here's my nade, here's my sleep dart, that sort of thing, but you then default back to your protected position where you're the back tip of the triangle. She completely played like a DPS in the first team fight. Yeah. Good.
You're far down. Get in there.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Do you just hate Reaper? Or is it that no one's near him? Yeah, no. That was definitely a boost Reaper. Like, Reaper's on top of a Reinhardt. That was definitely a boost Reaper. Okay. Reaper no ult. I don't care. I don't care how you, I don't care that Reaper doesn't have his ult. Regular Reaper, as long as he's on top of a target, is still a better nano target than Coalescencing Moira. But that's okay. It's not like this is a terrible nano target. I would just be annoyed if I was the Reaper and I was on top of a tank and you nanoed someone else who wasn't a Genji with a blade.
You're powered up. Get in there.
My power is overwhelming.
That's how you mock them. Fire. Keep out of my way. It's my limb.
Complete. Score.
Val absolutely had line of sight on Reaper because Val had the option to nano Reaper and then toggled it off. Yeah. Val definitely could have nanoed Reaper here. This isn't terrible, but no, that's not an amazing combination, nano coalescence. Like, it helps, it makes the coalescence better, don't get me wrong, but I would almost always rather nano a Reaper, a Winston, a Reinhardt, even a D.Va in the opponent's face that's, you know, already properly engaged with the opponent than the coalescence, but I'll deal. It is better than Nano Tire. That is true. Okay. So you rolled through the enemy team. You can't lose this one. You have 4 minutes left on the clock. Oh, it's going to be a King's Row.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Teleporter online. I have opened the path.
This will help.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. We're peeking that. No fear. No fear of a Widow, a Hanzo, anything like that.
Located the enemy.
I see it. We're going to live.
So again, if we think of the lanes on King's Row, we think where we can support people that might be pushing through multiple of them. So if we think of lanes, they could attack through here. They could attack roughly through here. They could go something like through here or branch off through here, or they could go somewhere like that. Those are sort of the lanes that are going to be relevant. So we can't go like, we need to be in a place where, how do I put this? If we're Junkrat and we control this lane and our team loses to the high ground lane, we kind of go shrug, not my fault, other than the fact that, you know, we could have won our lane harder and then gotten picks on their back line. That's how we'd operate as Junkrat. Cool. As Ana, we're going, I want to be able to support most of these lanes. I want to be able to have the option to support these lanes. I might not be able to see every lane at once. I might close angles against some of the lanes, but I want to be able to open angles against basically people who are occupying or fighting for each of these lanes. That's kind of how we're looking at this. So again, I'd look at this and go, well, where can I play from? Well, you know the answers to that. You could play from up here. It's not amazing. You could play from back here. It means that you're shallow in defending these two lanes, but you can help someone who's losing either one of these lanes from back here, right? Because you could see a Roadhog, you could see a Reinhardt, you can definitely see that lane. You're vulnerable to this lane if it's not being protected while you're paying attention to other things, and you can also protect that. You could do over here, it's a little too long of a sight line on that lane. They get a little too free on you during the main thing, but hey, that's fine. So let's see what we do. Great. Sure. And you're walking through to help Reinhardt. Okay, this is a little dicey, but I get it. You have to leave, sure.
Heal up.
Take it.
Quiet time.
Sleep darts have not been kind to you today. And obviously, there's work to be done here. Like, yes, okay, you missed at some levels, but like, keep sort of tracking him. Keep trying to stay on him. You sort of stopped after you hit the button there. Oh well. Okay, and this could potentially be fine, but you're done. This is as long as you get to look away. Like here, we'll look at this again. I've got no issue with this. You go 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, you're done. 4 shot, we're well past greed territory. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the fight. You can't see through walls right now, and the last time you checked on your team, they were fine, and they were here where you'd have been able to get them, but sure enough, they've moved. 4 shots, that's a long time. I'd have really capped you at about 3, and holy cow, you're going to have to walk over to here before you can really heal these guys if they need it. So, like... No, I would have probably been like 3 shots here or 2 shots in ability here, move over here, then maybe I'd have done a quick scope as I was going across just to get a quick heal on her or to shoot at someone that was coming through, and then I'd be able to help these guys again. But like you've removed yourself from your ability to assist mid lane, to reinforce mid lane. And Junkrat is still sitting here low health on mid lane, which, you know, is probably because he just doesn't understand. But, like, if he got healed, maybe he'd go over here and take control of this lane.
I've seen worse. You're going to live.
Right. And now this is what we're talking about where, hey, look, your team has put themselves in a situation where they're all like this and you're on the outside. There is no triangle protecting you. This is not a situation where, hey, the opponents have to go through your team to get to you and they get squished. And that's the situation you want to be manufacturing. The lanes protect your backline and you are the backline. You'll occasionally break out of them to go take advantage of a lane like you did here for a moment. You just did for too long. But the lanes are collapsing, and the lanes collapsing is bad, but you're making the best of that bad situation would be don't let them collapse to the point where you're on, you know, where you're in the vulnerable spot like that, where someone can walk through a lane and immediately find you. You'll make exceptions to that. It'll be frequent that people won't control hotel, and you'll play from here, and you'll just go, I'm controlling hotel from here, shallow hotel control, and I'm supporting the mid lanes and the left lane.
I'm under attack. Die, Fida.
Tell Bap to press shift. But related, you hate the edit position? Yeah.
How about a little extra?
Yeah, no, agreed, Blah.
How about a little extra?
Sure. Cool. It's fine. It's unfortunate. So this is good. You do this. I don't have an issue with how you dealt with the Moira there. You're here. I don't really understand exactly what's going on here in terms of you do that, good. You go for the reload because you have to. There's no shot to be had through this ice wall. So you take a shot on Devo, which I'm totally fine with. But now I'm sort of like, you just walk forward. What are we doing? Are we unscoping because of the tracer? Like, where our rescope is sort of late there. This is just time that is like, you have to either fire a hip fire shot at your Roadhog here, or your, what is that? Yeah, you have to fire a hip fire shot, probably at your Roadhog, maybe at your BAP here. Like, that's what has to happen right now, or you have to immediately scope and shoot them. Yeah, no. Okay. Sure. You're done. You can shoot at the middle pillar, but back up as you shoot at the middle pillar. Yeah.
Watching your back. Walk it off.
It can be fun to ruin Ball's life as Brick, but this is okay. We're looking at an Ana review.
I've seen the pain
And
to live.
it's going to be frequent that if you're playing a support, your other support isn't going to play Brig, especially at this point on the ladder. Okay.
Go. I keep you healed.
Your mortality field down. Watch yourself.
Okay. We have to lead these a little bit. You're shooting where people are, and you're dragging a little late here. And these have drifted. These have drifted. Obviously, you only missed by a little bit, but you've missed by a little bit. As a target is specifically walking to the right, you've missed by a little bit about 3 times now. So that becomes a pattern. That becomes, wait, there's an adjustment that you need to make here to hit your sleeps. And it's not, oh, I need to, aim my crosshair. I need better mouse control. This isn't a mouse control issue. This is a you not accommodating for the fact that it's a projectile and they're moving issue. And that's just how you're thinking about the shot. So like, okay, I have to lead a little bit further when they're, at this distance than I do when I'm right on top of them.
I have your back. You disappoint me. You're powered up. Get in there. وريهم. You're powered up. Get in there.
Like, I suppose this fight can go either way. Okay.
وريهم قوتك.
Yeah. That fight wasn't gone.
You're covered.
It was a fight you were losing, but it wasn't gone. Okay.
I need healing. أنا هاخد منك.
Where's your cover? You pulled back distance, but I still want you to have cover. Okay, that's better, but now you need to push back up. Your Reinhardt is going to want to push up a little. Okay, fine. Now you're safe here.
I will keep you healed.
The payload
It's fine.
has reached the chip.
Group up here.
So here you are.
Get
Work
back
your way
in
to
the
cover, please. I'm good with situationally where you are in terms of, hey, your team is in front of you. That's good. But I want you still to be like, hey, I'd still like to have a cover option. So I want you to work your way probably over here. You could work your way back here instead, but I'd prefer over here. At this point, I'd actually prefer you to be working your way forward because the cart is still further away. I wasn't aware that we'd rewound quite so far. So, like, the cart is far enough away that we need to be working our way back forward. We can't really tuck here because I expect that my Reinhardt is potentially going to want to push further up into this. So, I'm starting to look, hey, do I want to get up here type thing? Do I want to get up here type thing? But that's okay. So I have to think about where the battle's going to take place. You drift to the cover really too early. Okay, now it's clear that your team is not going to be able to push forward, so this positioning is perfectly fine. So let's dump some power into this. Can we find an opening? We're not really going to be able to rotate to get an ability off, so you spend your nade here.
I will
Fine.
keep you healed.
But we don't hit our Reinhardt.
The payload has reached the chip.
Group up here.
Go. I'll keep you healed. Oh, you're powered up. Get in there.
That's going to be a no.
هاخد بالمني.
Cover.
شكرا.
Use cover or rotate to a new spot.
Let them out.
ده هيفيدك.
This is just like, you're in the middle of the open. No. You're still in the middle of the open. going to get ourselves over here? Are we going to put ourselves over here earlier? Were we going to put ourselves here where we had a cover option? Were we going to get super fancy when we found a gap in the battle and put ourselves up here on high ground? No to this last one. This would have been a fine spot, but there was never an opening for you to get here. So, yeah.
وريهم قوتك.
Okay.
Just the way I like.
Okay.
Get in here.
Sure, you don't have any abilities. You're stuck in a reload. You're gonna lose people. That's not where they are. Like, that nade is not where they are.
Get in here.
This is like right now this is where they are. But they're gonna move forward. And Hog is already using Take a Breather. Hog is no longer even my most interesting nade target. My nade definitely goes forward like hereish. I'm going to get greedy and try to get more of them, this sort of thing. And these guys are also, hey, there's a lamp here. If these guys are smart, they're going to be trying to walk forward into the lamp anyway. Maybe I put my nade a little more over here because I think this ball's going to hit a boob, but like, it's still a projectile. You're working with a projectile here, not hit scan. Not hit scan. And then we didn't even make it deep enough to our Roadhog with that. No.
I've seen it. You're going to live.
Okay, you're basically in last fight territory, so you instantly gain nano your Reinhardt. I mean, I'd have even taken nanoing my BAP there. Oh boy.
You're powered up. Get in there.
I don't like that confirmation, but that's just me. You can certainly get high enough using it, so I'm not going to tell you you have to turn it off. It's just not my favorite. Okay, you tried to lead that one. Good.
I've seen worse. You're going to live.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Heal up.
You basically have to stop this with the sleep dart. Like, your weapon isn't going to make enough of a difference here. You have to slow down this fight. Can you find a sleep? No, you're going to reload. Okay. Okay, close the angle. Close the angle. So this cart still has some distance to give. Tracer's obviously coming for you. You know that they have people like D.Va deep because D.Va just dove to finish off your Bastion. Like, you know that they're going to come for you. You want to go back in towards spawn and then push out with your team. You can see the distance that the cart is at. Yes, we're just going to hang Pharah out to dry here, and that's life. We're going to protect ourselves so that we can come back in force with like 3 people with, you know, something like that to make a real contest here. Right now, you're not even going to delay cart for a second, and they're going to get you. Or they're going to weaken you, and then maybe you'll still live, but you'll have spent a bunch of resources protecting yourself. Kite out.
Help me.
Good.
Rocket off.
The payload is approaching its destination.
وريهم قوتك.
Okay, now you push out because you have to. Sure. I don't mind that. I know it seems a little weird to try and sleep dart the coalescence when the trace is on top of you, but I don't mind that at all. Okay.
Round 2 complete.
I mean, you're not getting any ability value. Like, you're playing hyper aggressive for these lanes, which, you know, I'm not going to say that that's fine. I've talked about you've sort of gone too far with this lane thing in terms of, oh yeah, I'm going to go control these lanes, I'm going to go control these lanes. No, you're going to make sure other people don't lose these lanes with how you support them, and you rotate into lanes that your team is doing a good job of winning, or you're helping them win, to drop off a huge spikes of ability power. That is how Ana works, and then she rotates back into her spot and she does her normal healing, whatever, normal damage shots, that sort of thing. Like, that is how Ana works. But a couple things are going wrong here. One, you're not hitting very many abilities. I know you're trying to play at a faster pace, but you're not hitting very many sleep darts and you're not hitting very many nades. And Ana's Ana's value as a hero compared to BAP is around her ability power spikes. And if you're not hitting very many of these abilities, it's not going to work. So now you're just putting yourself in danger. You're just putting yourself in danger to go take these aggressive spots or to go try and hold these aggressive spots. You're not getting rewarded with the good offensive burst of ability power. So I'm actually not surprised that you've fallen down to bronze here, because you're missing your abilities, you're rotating into more dangerous spots to try to use your abilities, and by doing these rotations, you're taking yourself out of being here where you could just heal bot, and heal botting is wrong, but someone who just heal bots down main on their Reinhardt or their D.Va or whatever and pays attention to no one else is safer and providing more value. Like, you see what I'm saying? Where, like, the other team has to work harder to go eliminate them back here, and they're providing a certain baseline of value to their team for their Reinhardt to use, even if not very well. Whereas you are going up here and then not hitting your abilities, so it's easier for the opponents to come find you, to come force abilities, to force your teammates to have to go, expend extra energy to use resources to try to get to you and protect you. It's easier to take you off the board, and you're not getting the purples, the sleeps, etc. that you need. So, like, I'm not against going for the aspirational play of going up here and hitting these shots, but you are trying to implement too many things at once, trying to do too many things at once. And also, you're just doing too much of this. Like, yes, I want players to go up, hit these things, do the off angles, get the value from there. That's perfectly fine. Go up to the off angle, but assume that you're on like a 3-move limit. You get to go up there and you get to basically immediately do up to 3 things. That could be shot, sleep, nade. That could be shot, nade, shot. That could be sleep, shot, shot. I don't care, but assume you get to do 3 things max, and then you've got to fall back into a position where you're supporting your team. Because you just can't not look at your team for that long when you are, as Relth would put it, the throughput healer of your team. Like, that's what you are. And you might be going, no, I have a second throughput healer, it's Moira, but like, I don't care. The Moira, the reality is at this level, people are pretty used to playing with double throughput healer because they think it's the best thing in the world. So the Reinhardts take a ton of unnecessary damage. Not so the Reinhardts take a ton of unnecessary damage. The Reinhardts take a ton of unnecessary damage because they don't know better. The D.Vas take a ton of unnecessary damage because they don't know how to play the hero. But that is the level that this game is at and that your games are going to be at for a while. You can succeed in bronze as a heal bot, sure. You could also succeed as bronze going up on these flanks and just eliminating everyone. I mean, it's bronze. You can succeed either way. The reality is if you provide enough value in the match, you're going to win. And you can get enough value out of either way of playing the game to be going, hey, you're consistently outvaluing what's coming in from the other side, and therefore you're going to win games. You have to get more efficient in how you get value as you climb the ranks. That said, we try to teach people to play correctly so that they have to make less huge adjustments later. We want the path up to be a little more smooth, not to be, oh, and shoot, now I have to completely recreate my play style before I can get past this, and now that sort of thing. Otherwise this was a hard cap type thing. So we try to teach people in a little more of a right direction. But Val, you're trying to do too many things at once, and you're way too focused on, I have to control these lanes. Your contribution to lane control, yes, if the lane is empty, you might take some shots down it. You're going to pay more attention to the fact that a lane is empty to be like, hey, that lane is empty, so I need to keep an eye on it. If you're, for example, in a situation, and you had this situation earlier, where your team is fighting here and no one's controlling this lane, and you're back here for some reason, you didn't have to be back here, you might have been, I do need to put, instead of putting like 10% of my brain power as awareness of what's going on over here, I might put 20 as awareness of what's going on over there because I know I'm vulnerable over there. Of course, I can eliminate that vulnerability by being over here. Now, then yes, you're still technically vulnerable to this lane wrapping around and getting you from over here, but you can go back to putting the standard, like, okay, 5% awareness of what might be coming from that direction type thing. And you get to put even less if someone was properly holding this lane. Okay.
Lucio coming at you.
Score.
Temporal should exhibit some of his avant-garde epic pen diagrams in museum. Exactly, James, exactly.
Initiating match.
No. I disagree, Blah. You're not going to hit Masters as a heal bot on Ana in this day and age. You might find someone who you'd consider too much of a heal bot who's hit Masters. You might find someone who hit Masters in the past just heal botting on Ana, but I can almost guarantee you they're getting value and meaningful value in not heal bot ways if they're getting to Masters as Ana. Ana really, at this point, seems to be at a place where, upper plat diamond seems to be about where Healbot caps out. Now, yes, if you get really, really, really fast at your answers and things like that, and really, really, really good at defending yourself from flankers, yeah, okay, there's a little bit potential there, but it's going to be really hard to get good enough and fast enough to do those things and not just go, this game is slow, let me find offensive shots. Well, people can hit Masters as a heal bot. I don't know if Val can. Okay. I would highly not recommend that. Like, you really would have to brute force that, and it would be so easy at that point to transition to doing damage because you'd have to be so much faster than your opponents. You'd have to be so much better at your weapon play than your opponents in order to brute force a heal bot Ana into Masters. It's not. I mean, it's definitely overcorrection. It's definitely overcorrection, and it's also you doing too many things at once. You've forgotten some of the basics, like where's your cover, hit your sleep darts, lead your nades. Like you're forgetting some of your basics in order to go for these more advanced things. This like, oh, let's talk about lanes. Let's talk about how lanes work. Lanes are great, but like, what about the basics of, hey, you should have cover if you're not rotating? Hey, you should throw your nade just in front of the tank or between the two tank lines as one tank line is advancing into the other one. Or, hey, we've got to lead our sleep dart a little bit. Or, hey, let's look for the timing of our nano right sort of as the engage starts. Like, where are the basics? It's sort of like if we went beginner, intermediate, advanced, you're like going, ooh, the intermediate plus section. Let me go browse that. And I'm like, I'm fine with you browsing the intermediate plus section if you're doing the beginner stuff, but you're like, now I don't need any of this beginner stuff. It's like, no, you still need cover. You do still need cover. Or, again, the early intermediate stuff for Ana, which is you play more at a baseline in the back, you go forward to deliver a couple abilities or an ability and a shot of power, and then you rotate back to your safer position. This is sort of the intermediate Savannah, and you're going, no, there's this lane control thing, and this lane control thing matters, but the lane control thing, how it fits in, again, is you get to the lanes that you can take to go forward and deliver your power are the lanes that are either open that you know from scouting or have been won by your team that you assisted them with winning, and you're able to track what's going on in lanes 1, 2, and 3, and rather than just supporting 2, you're supporting all 3, and you're actually able to transition into lane 1 here to deliver a little bit of power and then transition back. But it's a short thing. It's a short thing. You're up there for maybe just to get a nade off, just to get a sleep off, maybe to get a nade and a sleep and then a shot off and then retreat if you hard won the lane. Maybe to get a nade off and a shot and then retreat. But you're not staying up here for more than 3 moves, and your moves can't be, let me wander up here, throw one, sort of wander back, get a health pack, wander up here, take a shot, wander back, oh, wait, go do that, which is what you did both directions here. So, yeah. Like this one. Okay.
Ready for battle.
I think some people do undervalue the boosted healing buff of Bionade. I mean, it's not nothing. Like, part of what made Ana the first power creep hero in Overwatch was her nade. It delivers a burst of healing in the form of it heals people in an AoE, actually. So it delivers healing. It's an AoE. But we'll ignore the AoE portion for a moment. It does damage. It gives a plus to the amount of healing that people receive. And it blocks healing for the other team. And it does all of these things. I can just drag down this AoE here. It does all of these things in an AoE. Like, this is a silly flexible ability. And yes, this purple part is the best here. Like, this is the best portion of it. But there's absolutely times where this is amazing. We absolutely use it for this. And yeah, you do occasionally even use it for this. So, like, yeah, it's all great. It's all pretty darn great, and it's a ton of things packed into one ability. AoE damage too. Yeah, exactly. AoE all of it.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Do I think Keelbot SR cap will be gold soon? If no, because platinum is a lot denser than diamond or masters were. So there's a lot more people in plat than in diamond or masters. So it's a lot slower to sort of move the cap of something through plat or gold or silver, because those are, such bigger percentages of the population. And also the game likes to drop fresh accounts into gold, which does mean even though there aren't very many, there's occasionally fresh players. And since they mostly get dropped in that silver to plat range, again, those have some impact on what sort of the average is. Mercedes says, I think healbots can get to GM if they do everything else right. Would you disagree? I mean, are you really a heal bot if you've got your nano timings perfect and anytime you don't take any offensive shots against the team when they're on the other side, but when the Genji gets to you, you beat him in every duel? Like, the level of mechanically better than the other team you have to be if you don't put any poke pressure on them before they get to you, but you just win 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 times when they do get to you is silly. Like, the heroes are designed in such a way where you're generally going to need that pressure put on them, etc. Less so than they were in the beginning of the game when it was released, but that's sort of like, sure, Val, if your aim is, and you see this, if your aim is not Val, sure, Mercedes, if your aim is that much better, your mechanics are that much better than the opponents, you can brute force a lot of things, but what is in the realm of really possible anymore? Can your mechanics really be that much better than, can someone's mechanics really be that much better than a 4,200 player's mechanics? Yes, there are huge mechanic gaps between 4,200 players and 4,600 players. There absolutely are, but enough to make up for they just default down mid all the time, etc.? No, not so much. Not at this point. So, are we at a point where an Ana can always defend herself from a Tracer? And by always, I mean like 7 out of 10 times if she's not putting offensive pressure on the team? Well, yeah, that's a huge burden released from your team. And now your other support gets to get a disproportionate amount of value because you're defending yourself without having a brig or whatever the case may be there. Because, you're putting such pressure on them. So I think that's like, you could say like, oh, maybe you could do this, but it becomes so much easier, and it's too contrived to be like, oh, they've stayed a heal bot, because again, the game is going to feel so slow. If you can beat a Tracer that shows up, like actually be like, hey, I'm going to beat you, 9 out of 10 times without ever putting pressure on the other side of the map, on the ball, on the tracer, on the Genji, on the Echo, any of those things. If you just defend yourself when they get to you a super high proportion of the time, you're again in this situation where you're now mechanically good enough that the game is going to feel slow. And how do you get that far without going, hey, this game feels slow, let me find more things to do and get shots off? Vantage players' mechanics are that good. Should they just switch to DPS and play Ashe? I guess depends on what they enjoy. Not necessarily. Anna and Ashe are very different. I mean, you know, they both have scopes. They can both do damage, but like they both have a AoE ability with TNT and Nade, but they're still very different. What do you want to do? Where do you want to position? Do you want to be responsible for trying to, you know, really finish off and get that elimination every time? Or do you want to sort of do a, hey, I want to really track more things that are going on at once?
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
We strike as one. Nap time. Get me.
Okay, so we're up here. Okay, and you have to recognize what happened here. So I get it. This is a little annoying. You're here. You need to recognize that your team is pushing. Your Reinhardt is pushing, so you need to go, hey, what do I do? And maybe you don't because you see this Echo and go, I want to support this. But your support now is a Brig, and your Reinhardt is pushed up out of your line of sight. So you either need to rotate up here, which it's a little too late for now. More likely, you need to push through this lane, which you do control. It's totally safe for you to push through this lane. Your Junkrat is here. Your Reinhardt is already pushed up to here. You need to push through this to get to your Reinhardt more quickly. What are you doing? Rotate during your reload. What are you doing? Like, I get that you're annoyed that your Reinhardt foolishly pushed up to the choke, but it's bronze. Like, he's going to do that. We have to adjust to the reality of, like, yeah, he's going to make mistakes, but if you let your Reinhardt just die every time he makes a mistake as Anna, you're not going to have a good time. Reinhardt making mistakes, as long as you can heal him through them, generally just means, I guess we're going to have to win off of my Nano harder. That's one of the reasons I talk about Nano so much, is because, hey, especially in these lower SR games, I mean, really in any game, you can charge Nano pretty fast, but hey, people take a bunch of damage, fine, you get your Nano faster. If you get your Nano timing well and you hit good Nanos, okay, the fact that your Reinhardt is making a lot of mistakes, you'll sort of just embrace and move along with, okay, now I Nano him. Right, but even if he is as good as Gold Plat, like, you'd still look at this and go, I'm not convinced my Reinhardt can get out. Like, this is the same, if we put you on that same 3-move time limit, do you feel like you can get to a place where you can heal your Reinhardt? I mean, like, it's the same thing. Assume that, could your Reinhardt get out in, you know, what would be the equivalent of 3 moves for you? And even if he can, you'd start to be adjusting up to here where you can go, if he backs out, I'll be able to heal him here. If he doesn't back out, if he doesn't start to have backed out, well, now we'll just go through here and go do this. Like, this is foolish. And you're not even interested.
I have your back.
Kree plus Junkrat, why no? Yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying, but, like, again, and I say this in the map guides, well, these are things that we want. You're not going to be able to make sure every single bit of what's important for lane control happens yourself. You're going to do what you can do. You're going to recognize if you're a DPS, okay, I'll make sure we get one more lane so that we've got 2 lanes. You're going to recognize if you're a support that you can properly reinforce the lanes, and that if this lane is empty, you have to pay a little bit more attention to it to make sure people don't walk through it onto you, that sort of thing. You need to recognize, like, oh, we're getting pushed through a lane, so we need to push the other 2 lanes, that sort of thing. Like, you recognize you can't do everything, and your teammates not doing everything right just means you adjust to reality. The super has it right here. I play in gold, but I assume my teammates are as good as bronze silver. Right. And that's what we do. We just sort of assume throughout the ladder that, hey, my teammates are mostly bots, but I need to use them as credible distractions. Like, even if I expect them to lose, even if I assume that each one of my allies is only worth 80% of what the opponents are, of each of the opponents are worth, if I'm going to win, I still need to have these opponents somewhat distracted by these, because I, even if I'm worth 150% of what my opponents are worth, can't beat all 6 of them at once.
Walk it off.
Ooh, that's a good one, Bluff.
Hold up now.
اتعلم من الألم.
Okay.
I will keep you here.
We're getting a little
Fall
bouncy.
back and regroup.
Oh, excuse me.
You're going to be okay.
Step right up.
Walk it off.
Step.
Okay, so you've adjusted yourself here. I'll live with it. Sure. And just immediately pivot. Immediately pivot to heal. Sure.
Walk it off. You're powered up. Get in there.
There's no one for him to swing at. Like, I get what you want here, but I wouldn't nano a Ryan that's fighting a ball unless that ball's in some way
This is
stuck,
a
because
waste of
ball just gets
neon.
away too easily. I want my Ryan on top of a Reinhardt, on top of Winston that doesn't have leap, on top of an Orisa, on top of a Diva that doesn't have boosters. Like, I want my Reinhardt fighting, on top of a Brig, whatever, something that can't get away from him. Now, you might be saying I'm doing this to heal him. The ball's already leaving. He's okay.
You're
He
powered
really
up.
is.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Kill.
James, I don't think that's what Val needs to hear.
Don't worry, my friend. I am your shield.
30 seconds remaining.
I will keep you here. Walin with it. Taking damage. Oh, Nen.
Okay. Cool. I don't really know that I reload here. Yeah. You had 9 shots left. There's plenty to do. Your reloads have gotten a little obsessive, it looks
10
like.
seconds remaining.
They're by far not what I'm going to comment on in this match, but...
Overtime.
Okay.
Get healed.
Probably not. Reinhardt's okay. Reinhardt's not amazing, but Reinhardt's okay right now, and I know there's a Coalescence on the board. I need purples out of this Coalescence. A purple on Moira would be amazing, but I need purples out of this Coalescence unless it's the difference between my saving my Reinhardt or not, because, again, she and her team are under more pressure. Right now, they can be silly aggressive. They have a Coalescence going. Your team is weak. But if you put her purple, well, suddenly she's actually vulnerable because she doesn't have her Vampiric Coalescence helping her out. If you make someone else purple, at least that person has to play more defensive, and that relieves the pressure on your team.
Get healed.
Yeah, that's just Reinhardt. We could have aimed that to the right to try to get Reinhardt and Hammond.
Reinhardt.
Okay. Sleep it. Yep.
It's quiet.
You then immediately shot him. You actually woke up your own sleep there, which is a little bit of a shame because as we see, our Reinhardt was ready to shatter. That shatter would have re-flattened him, broken the minefield, hit someone else. Yeah. Okay.
Personality duplication complete. This will heal
This review says Val doesn't know how to play Ana. I mean, I don't think that's true. I think you've forgotten how to play Ana.
Old soldiers.
I think again, you were like, okay, here's the beginner box of how to play Ana right here. Here's the intermediate box, and here's the advanced box. And you're like, okay, I've got most of this done. I'm pretty well read in this box. Now let me reach in here for the fun things. And it's like, oh, I mean, maybe, but like you can't go. And now I'm going to throw this in the trash bin. Like, okay, well, no, you can't now throw this in the trash bin because you build on this stuff to be able to do this stuff and this stuff.
Objective lost.
This will help.
Okay. You're watching that diva.
Walk it off.
I mean, with rally going, I'm probably not nading my Tracer. I get that Tracer's hard to hit, but I'm so much more interested in the nade that will be here, like when I think Diva can't block it. When I think Diva's out of DM or trying to time around her DM timing, like, ooh, look at that. These guys have been clumping for you. The Diva's been there, so it's been a problem, but
Walk it off.
oh well.
Step.
This is the last fight. You're nanoing the rally? What are we nanoing? What are we nanoing?
I've seen worse. You're going to live. Heal up.
That's just a purely defensive nade again. Like, your Ryan's not in trouble. His shield is fine. It's only beginning to crack here. I get that you're low on shots, but if this was an efficiency thing, you'd have used the nade as a reload cancel. But the reality is, like, where was my nano on really anything? Like, there was a rallying Briggs there was a Reinhardt, like, anything that could fight. This is last fight, and it's tilted in your direction. Let's make sure we get it.
I am on fire.
اتعلم من
Round
الألم.
3 complete. Score 4-3.
Nah, Magdalena. Fun game, start around 4,400.
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
Last minute check.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
But that's sort of the point. Like, the point is the games are never going to be this magical paradise of, oh yes, they're so much better than the previous games. Now my teammates know how to play. Like, no, you just have to keep individually getting better. Your teammates are never going to know how to play. It's always going to feel like they don't know how to play, and you've picked up and learned and worked on and have, like, it's always going to feel like you know so much more than them. And the truth is you don't, but it's going to feel that way because you know different things and you don't know what you don't know type thing. But hey.
3, 2.
Quick plays greater than all of them? Ah, the Mercedes approach. Okay.
Incoming. Defend objective A.
Close to fun. Okay.
Get it done.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
You know more than your teammates because you watched Temporal's educational YouTube videos. There you go, James. That's the way to do it. But you still have to accept that your teammates aren't going to know as much. You can't just be upset at the fact that they don't know. I mean, you can be upset, but it doesn't change anything. Is that true, PZ? Experimental not fun? That's a shame, because I've got some players that are potentially interested in playing in the tournament.
Bad guys. Heads up.
Though it's a bit of a shame it's on the same day as Toronto's tournament there. Okay.
Enemy turret destroyed. You're powered up. Get in there. Hold back.
I'm not walking at that. Go get your mini. Go get your mini. Go get your mini. Go get your mini. Get mini. Deliver nade. Go back and help team. Good. Good. Mini? Mini?
Enemy turret is
Help team.
The
You're
pain
done.
is coming.
You're done. No, no, no. Go, go, team. This was almost a good play.
That's much better.
No, you don't need to now duel. You do not need to 100 to 0 these heroes. You're not a DPS who like has the great tools to finish off, to stick to people, to get eliminations. You can think of yourself as creating additional openings for your teammates to get eliminations. Like getting eliminations is hard work. Let someone else do that. You have too many other projects that you're balancing. Keeping your Reinhardt alive, you know, charging up your Nano, figuring out how your Zarya's doing over there, you know, making sure that your soldier doesn't feed. Like, you have too many other projects going on, making sure opponents don't get to you. So, like, you go, hey, I'm going to deliver an aid, and that creates an opening, and maybe someone will capitalize on and finish them off. I'm going to double tap someone, and that won't finish them off, but that's potentially enough that now, if my soldier happens to hit a shot, they'll get finished off. And you can kind of just repeatedly create openings and let someone finish those off. Yes, as you get better, you'll capitalize on your own openings. You'll be greedy for that extra shot sometimes because you're very, very confident that you're going to hit it. And if you're very, very confident that you're going to hit it, and it's the shot that's going to eliminate someone, okay, your Reinhardt should be able to hold on, and oh, he didn't, but we got their soldier, so it's okay. Like, create openings for your team repeatedly without, you know, being missing for so long that, oh, your Reinhardt's going to get blown up. Your Zarya's going to get blown up. Your soldier's going to be half health forever, and your soldier being half health forever and not being able to heal himself because he dropped his heal station foolishly somewhere else means he's not contributing. So you going and taking these shots is actually not net putting your team ahead because your soldier is, you know, not contributing type thing. Like, you have too many projects to watch. Just, you know, spend a moment to go create a minor opening. You get to make up to 3 moves. You don't get to go, and they've got to be immediate 1, 2, 3. If you have to think about them, there's no time. You only get 1 or 2. Yeah, Zergling dance. I know. I know. And again, this is not an amazing kite pass. You're standing here like you're a Reaper or a Mei. Like a Reaper or a Mei would be like, yes, I'm stopping the opponents from walking in. This isn't us. And again, if you're worried about, hey, this lane, what you do is you push yourself a little further away from the lane, or you put yourself in a situation where you can heal this lane and keep an eye on this lane. Take your pick. I'd just position a little further away from it and use my ears, but yeah. Right. So, like, aha! We got the Rhine. We got the Rhine with a nade. But our team, of course, isn't going to push him. Again, this can be done. There's some high-level Ana plays that look like this. But you don't have a Sleep Dart to protect yourself with. You didn't get yourself with that nade. This Reinhardt can just take you out. Now, you're going to get your sleep back before you realize this, because reactions are slow in bronze, but, like, you were holding this place, and you had no ability to hold this place against a Reinhardt walking through it, and that's incredibly obvious right now.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you had no control over whether you lived or got eliminated there.
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
Go. I should be here.
Okay, so charge up Nano and win.
I'm ready to unleash coalescence.
Look for a big nade, charge up Nano, win.
Tactical visor activated.
Okay? Sure.
60 seconds.
Okay. So just reset. Why are you nading yourself? This is a dead fight.
Patched up.
Okay. Back away further. Huh?
Lucio coming at you.
You have to hit this. Yikes. I mean, you adjusted to try, but yikes. Okay.
You're going to be okay.
I know, it was 4 ults, but they did use ults on the other side. Like, they used Molten Core. That's a big deal to get that off the board. They're going to have Minefield, which is a problem. And we do have Nano on our side, and we'll have Grab as well. So this is doable.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
This will
You went for the nade. And you got good value out of it.
You're powered up. Get in there.
I'm not sure Ryan... Oh, you went with McCree as your Nano. Okay, sure.
This gunslinger.
And then they hit the nade. Just a little too slow with that. You're following, you immediately sleep. Good.
Just got primed and ready.
Healing in hand. I have your back.
10 seconds remaining.
We're running out of time. Everyone, attack.
I've got you in my...
Fire at will.
Baptiste, I'm on fire. Well,
This is going to hurt. Take your medicine. Hold back.
I mean, it's just garbage time. Okay, so I think I've pretty well hit on this point, but like the concept that you need to understand here is you need to execute your basics. Like Ana, this is how Ana works. Ana plays roughly behind her team, similar positioning to Zen, to Bap, little bit different because of how they work. Ana's more interested in transitioning forward on flanks to be able to hit abilities and then falling back. Bap is more interested in high ground. There's some differences, but we'll call that. She has somewhat standard flex support positioning. She's not like Moira, who positions quite a bit differently. So Ana positions roughly behind her team. She would love it if she has, you know, group 1 of her teammates over here, group 2, maybe another one over here, and then she's got like a Reinhardt in front of her here. She would love that. That would be fantastic. If she doesn't get these things, too bad. She's at the very least going to have teammates here. If these lanes are totally open, so be it. It sucks, but so be it. That just means she needs to watch them harder with, you know, her eyes. Her misshapen eyes, apparently. I guess that's why there's an eye patch there. She just needs to pay a little more attention to them, if that's the case. Super chat coming in from Danana Split for 99 cents. Thank you, Danana Split. Appreciate that. So we, again, you need to go, hey, I'm going to position with something between me and the enemies. The only times there's not something between me and the enemies, you know, we can have enemies here. That's not the color we want. Enemies here. Is when she does rotate up onto an angle. Maybe she's now parallel. Maybe she's even in front of her team, her tank line, whatever. But this is a quick power surge of I'm dropping a nade, or I'm taking 2 shots, or I'm sending a sleep dart, and then she falls back to her spot. That's how she works. That is how she works. She does not just live here, can't just live up here. She does not spend 6 abilities up here. She doesn't go up here and have time to reload while she's up here. She reloads while she's traveling. That's how Ana works. It's not really up for debate. It's how Ana works. You should have cover when you're not, you know, like this is the main thing. This is it right here. Keep someone between you and the opponents, except when you rotate up onto these wings. When you rotate up onto these wings, deliver ability or abilities and then leave. And do it quickly. You can't be gone for, like, you can't not see your Reinhardt for 5 seconds. That's too long. Like, 3 ability or 3 action max, and if there's a, you know, lot of line of sight between you and Reinhardt that you're going to have to get past once you've delivered your stuff here to get back to here, to heal your Reinhardt, to heal your Orisa, to heal your Sigma, whatever, then you're going to have even less time. to deliver those things. Maybe you just deliver the nade and fall back. That's how this works, like full stop. So this I need you to get back to being right. I think once you get this back to being right, it'll fix a lot of problems. But get this back to being right. The second thing I'm going to go into is you're missing too many abilities. Like, you're missing too many abilities, and you have better mechanics than what I saw here. So, like, you're probably trying to rush too fast. I know you've talked about, hey, you want to play at this faster pace. That's fine. Play at the faster pace. Push yourself a little bit. Looks like you're potentially pushing yourself too hard. Hopefully, these abilities will just fall back into more accuracy as you get to settle down a bit, get to play here, get to play less like a chicken with your head cut off running around up here. But we need to get some ability accuracy. And again, I don't usually focus excessively on mechanics, but you've had ability usage that's better than this before in the past as a general rule. So, like, you aim nades at where people are going to be. You aim sleep darts at where people are going to be. As people get further away, you have to lead more. As people get closer, you lead less. Tanks are a perfectly fine sleep target. Tanks are a perfectly fine sleep target. If you can control someone's movement by sleeping them when they're in a somewhat enclosed space, as we, would have been the case with this Hammond here, even better. Like, that's how it works. And you've got to keep aiming. It's not just you press the button and the sleep goes. You press the button and there's a delay before it goes. So you've got to keep aiming and you've got to keep that lead where you want it, and perhaps even adjust if they start to switch directions there, which is hard. But, like, get your positioning back to normal. Put yourself on, like, a 3-move limit when you're up on those wings there, and then work on your ability usage. I'm not going to give you a third thing. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say, hey, let's bring your positioning back to normal, back to this, hey, standard thing. Use your abilities more reasonably. And then I could talk about, like, use cover, but, like, this first thing is so important that I'm going to say work on that. And you've also shown too much willingness to do too many things at once. So again, I'm mostly hugely putting this emphasis on get your positioning to normal. And again, normal Ana positioning is going to be, I'm back here, I rotate up to hit abilities, and then I fall back. I rotate up to take one shot, hit a sleep dart, and then rotate back, that sort of thing. That's how Ana works, like, full stop. From there, use your cover, do that sort of thing. And then again, your second thing becomes, hey, let's think a little bit about, hey, can I lead with this nade? Can I make sure that this nade gets multiple people? I'd like to get my tank, but I'd also like to get an opponent, or use it in such a way where there's a chance it'll get an opponent, that sort of thing. I don't need a nade for my tracer. I'm going to hit my sleeps on tanks, even when they're far away, because their movement is predictable and they're big. There we go. Temporal, yep, I was thinking the basic stuff doesn't matter anymore. I mean, it's always going to matter. It can always be polished to a higher level, and if you keep polishing the basics to a high enough level, you can make it to GM. Like, that is how it works. But, yeah, so let's get that right. I was playing at 3 a.m., didn't want to send you a good game. Okay. I suspect your average game is a little better than this, though maybe not. Maybe this has become an average game because you focus too hard on some of this stuff, and in that case, okay, let's really bring it back to basics here. Send a good game, Temporal will find things wrong there too. That's true. I mean, I like average games. I do like when people send me their average games. If I'm correcting your good game, that's fine. I can tell you what the good version of you needs to do to improve. But is the good version of you present 20% of the time, 50% of the time, 5% of the time, or 100% of the time? Making the good version of you better is generally less useful than making the average version of you better. But I can work with any of it, definitely. Hey, Temporal, is it possible to train the tempo at which you play at? Yes, but the easiest way to do so is to play in higher level games where the opponents are playing at a higher level tempo, which will force you to play at a bit of a higher level tempo. That's the easiest way to do it. It's very hard to consciously train it. You can try to rush yourself a little bit, but because this is a team game, there's timings to when your team does stuff, that is going to have some level of impact on, slowing down your tempo. Yes, you can still force your tempo because tempo isn't just the timing at which your team attacks, acts, whatever, but there's going to be more downtime in a lower level game like this, which is going to cause it to be hard, which is why you'll see things doing like just doing a lot of weapon play just to stay warm, even though they don't want to poke at the opponent because it would be a 1v6 if they poked at the opponent type thing. Okay. Is this done? It looks like it, Adam. Need a temporal review? A temporal review for Christmas? Maybe. Swatchers enjoy terrible games. Hey, Adam. It was a little painful, but, you know, she'll get better. She overcorrected, made some mistakes in overcorrecting, let go of the basics, and it didn't go well. But that's okay. She'll get it right. Uh-huh. Val says, Adam made me nano a coal. Temporal said it's not good. It's not the best thing in the world. It's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. Your Reaper, who was in a Reinhardt's face, would have been much happier with it. You could. Oh, it works in bronze. Yeah, but not. I mean, everything works in bronze. Okay. That's going to do it for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please drop a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.